When I was writing down how many videos I have to make until Tokyo Game Show, I realized I completely forgot about this one. But I have officially decided to do this one since I have to work on two really big videos that I have planned coming up. So, a couple weeks ago, I asked my subscribers to just drop some theories about RE9, and I'll just react to them and give my full honest opinions on them. Now, I know this is bad timing because I believe some things may have changed since I made the post 2 weeks ago, but regardless, I am going to be talking about these, and if your theory was not in this video, I apologize. But before we start, if you are looking forward to Resident Evil 9 Requiem and the Tokyo Game Show, be sure to leave a like on this video to help it reach the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the near future. And now, let's get into it. So the first one is this. The main villain of RE9 is going to be the BSAA, and the hooded man that we see kill the hotel owner is a BSAA bioweapon like the one at the end of RE8. I also think that the hooded man may be a common enemy type and not specifically an important figure. There's definitely a decent portion of this that I agree on, one being the common enemy type. I think that was just a simple introduction to what Grace will have to face in terms of getting closure to her mother's death, and also about the hidden truth of the outbreak. However, I don't think the BSAA will be an enemy in this game. I'm saying that because this is another theory or prediction as well. Chris and Jill probably figured things out within the 5 years since Village, in my opinion. I'm sure Chris would have at least restored almost everything for the BSAA. However, this virus is the same, in my opinion, that we saw in those bodies on that aircraft carrier. Maybe it got stronger, I don't know, but even then you saw them rappelling down into the village. Normal zombies or bioweapons don't do that, and even if you look at the hooded man in Requiem, using a plastic bag to suffocate someone isn't something you normally see in a basic BOW. I think this is a completely new and advanced strain of a virus we don't know of right now, so I do agree with a lot of parts in this theory, but I'm not ruling out the BSAA's role in this game. It may be restored, and even Blue Umbrella may have a role as well. I think if there is a way to tie these events, it can work well, and if that is the plan for Nakanishi, I have full faith in him. Albert Lester, the hooded axe killer from Alyssa's playthrough in Outbreak, is returning. He was the antagonist in her scenario. They're at an abandoned hospital, and Alyssa has Daylight. Daylight was on the note in RE9 Requiem demo. The hooded killer has a collared shirt, so probably a callback to Albert Lester, and they're at a hospital. Okay, so I'm going to quickly say this. Of all the things I've seen involving the aspect of the gameplay demo, I have not seen any mention involving the Daylight vaccine, especially this early into the game. But if any of you guys seen it, just let me know in the comments down below and I'll try and find it myself. I like the callback to Albert Lester. I think he is one of the more forgotten antagonists or BOWs in Resident Evil, and funny enough, I have even forgotten as well. And yes, the collared shirt is very interesting to say the least involving this hooded figure, but there may be a chance things can be blown out of proportion as there's just a variety of outfits we have with these enemies, unless there's only one of them. But I do like the Lester theory a lot. I don't know if it'll happen, but it would be very cool to see. I put my money on that the hooded man and the big monster are Outbreak characters. My theory is that Grace will encounter most or maybe all Outbreak characters experimented on as stalker enemies, and all of their weakness will be light. You can also add on that's most likely why the hooded man shut off the power and wears a cloak to avoid light. Okay, I'm gonna say this. The aspect of the Outbreak characters being stalkers or even just enemies would be crazy. However, I do think it is a little too far-fetched unless somehow whoever is the main villain of this game hunted all of them down, which again would be crazy. I think for me personally, if any Outbreak characters are returning outside of Alyssa, is Kevin and possibly Yoko, because she played a big role in shutting down Umbrella just like Alyssa did. However, the second part you mentioned, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I think you're cooking. I never thought about that with the base enemies too. Even with the Spencer lookalike, he's not in any sort of light either, it's just a fireplace. All the things that we've seen involving these enemies is in the dark. Not to mention, even when Alyssa died, the hooded figure is in all black and covered up, and not to mention, he's wearing black gloves too. So I think this light aspect of Requiem is not only going to be just involved in terms of the enemies, but the story itself involving Grace, especially with what we are assuming is in her blood. This is great. Main villain, Spencer. The perfect villain for this game about facing the past, sees Grace as the chosen one, as a better version of Lisa Trevor. Hooded man Lucas Baker, Alyssa did investigate his family. He did look like he had a sadistic smile when killing the hotel manager. Hag, Alyssa Ashcroft, blonde hair, why she doesn't kill Grace immediately when you first encounter her, or end of demo. We don't see how Alyssa died. Grace's father, Kevin Ryman. Second character, Leon Kennedy. Maybe Ashley, who's now a politician, sends Leon to find missing FBI agents. Also, Kevin is friends with Leon in the past, and he wants to help looking for his missing daughter. For this part, the Spencer theory is very possible to happen. However, I just think that it's really difficult for it to happen. When Spencer died, we saw zero activity from the mold, and recently when I replayed the first half of the RE Village DLC, K9 stated that you need to die within the realm of the Mega Mycete to have your consciousness and memories restored inside of it. That's why you see the Duke, Miranda, and Ethan. Now, why didn't we see any of the Four Lords? I don't know. Also, if Spencer was resurrected, he'd had to have died around the time he was being taught under Miranda. But then you're probably asking, why did Ethan come back alive in RE7? I don't know, it's a genuine clusterfuck involving the entire aspect of the mold, and not even to mention that Evelyn is in the consciousness as well. And I also think with the Black God destroyed in the village, I genuinely do not think the mold will return. Now, let's get to Lucas. I'm not trying to say that your theory is dumb in any way, but do we not remember his head getting blown off by Chris in the Not a Hero DLC? I don't think Lucas is back one bit. However, I do think before he died, he played a role into possibly the connections finding Alyssa, which falls back to that RE7 file, and supposedly, this file did start everything that boiled over for Alyssa until her death. But Lucas is dead, he's not coming back. The Hag, yes, I do believe it is Alyssa, but I also hope it's just a random failed experiment in a way. But I don't know. I want to play this demo and also just the game itself, but I understand from the story and trauma aspect of the witch being Alyssa. I think the entire aspect of who Grace's father is will be going on until the release of the game, and maybe even after if it doesn't get revealed. I don't know if it'll be Kevin or maybe he was just very close friends with Alyssa until her death, and maybe that can play a possible role for Kevin to come back, but then again it's like, I really don't know. As for the last part, I do think Leon is the second character, and eventually in due time he's getting revealed. Also, I think it would be cool for Ashley to be involved in the US government because of her father being the president, and who knows, she can use his influence, I guess, to just be involved, and hopefully she's not a Nepo baby. But jokes aside, it would be cool. I think one or more returning characters will die. This being the most developed and hyped game, I think they'll want to have a meaningful death to wrap up an old story. This is definitely one of the more sensitive topics involving this game because there's definitely a chance it can happen. But this is the thing for me personally. If you're going to kill somebody off, there better not be much left in the story. A part of me is like, I don't want any death to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if Capcom did that. But you would need to make it have a substantial meaning behind it, and I just don't know if Capcom wants to do that. I feel like they teased Chris's death in RE6, but they bailed on it last second for Pierce to take the fall instead, and we also just got Ethan. And also, let me say this too, happy endings don't realistically exist in RE for me. I have a feeling on who exactly it would be for Capcom to kill somebody off in this game. It's just, if it happens, I'm going to be an emotional baby for about a month, then I might get over it. I already made a video on it too, so yeah, you guys know exactly who I'm talking about though. Alyssa holding Grace's hand to calm her down will come back in a moment when Grace holds her mutated mother's hand to kill her, or calm her. I don't know if that was a typo or not. We really want this game to be an emotional roller coaster, I'm guessing, because goddamn. I'm kind of intrigued by this because this game, in my opinion, has the best opportunity to be the biggest emotional story for Resident Evil because of the word Requiem, the remembrance, and there is multiple layers to it, not just Alyssa. So honestly, yeah, that would be extremely fucked up, to say the bare minimum. That's a lot to think about, to be honest. The woman walking down the hallway in the trailer is the one calling out Code 6 in the demo when Grace picks up the key. The stalker and the Hooded Man will have a battle revealing who the Hooded Man is. This is interesting because I had to rewatch a demo gameplay, and you were definitely right because, listen to this. There's also a mystery because a part of me thinks this woman was the one who wrote Grace's status being on that gurney. So there's some interesting things involving her. I don't know if her role will be big afterwards, but we will have to wait and see. Second one, to be honest, I don't believe in it. I don't see a reason why they would battle, if that makes sense, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I've been wrong on theories before, and I will be again eventually. I think the Hooded Man is going to be Nikolai, and the Hag is a mutated Alyssa Ashcroft. When it comes to the man on the chair and the villains, I think it's got something to do with Brandon Bailey, the BSAA, and the connections. Brandon Bailey being the man on the chair. Whatever happened in 7 and 8 is going to be highly connected to Requiem, as we still need to find out what Chris found out in the BSAA Europe HQ. Whatever he found out might be relevant, or maybe they're going to address that in a future game, perhaps a Revelations 3. I definitely think the BSAA thing needs to be answered either in a Revelations type of game or even a CGI movie. I'll take that. I think Brandon Bailey should have a major role in this game, especially if Nakanishi wants to continue what he did in RE7. The BSAA should play a role into this game somehow, but I'm also like, how big should it be? It depends on if the second character is possibly affiliated with the BSAA or not. It's definitely hard for me to come up with something right now, but I need to see more of this game so I can be sure of what we could get. I'm pretty damn sure Zoe Baker will return in some capacity. This to me is one of the most intriguing ones. Let's not forget, if Zoe were to return in some capacity like they said, whether if it's in a flashback or even in a file that briefly mentions the Connections Crime Syndicate, this is the twist. Zoe wouldn't be her name anymore, because after the Baker incident, she was given a new identity to cover up her actual name and involvement in that incident. So even though we wouldn't know her new name, it would be cool to see her or hear from her somehow. She even revealed who and what the connections are, so she's pretty damn good at her job, so I'm intrigued on this theory. I think this was very good. Leon will be voiced by Matthew Mercer. This will not only be a send-off for Leon, but to Matthew, who voiced Leon in a number of projects, and would suit the portrayal of an older Leon. I also think the person in the trailer that asks, investigating all these strange deaths, huh, is the Matthew Mercer Leon. I have personally been waiting to have this conversation for quite some time now, and I don't want to trigger anybody involved in the aspect of who should voice who, because I already know if Leon is in this game. I have a feeling on who's going to voice him. So, Nick Apostolides, who has been known as the current voice actor for Leon, especially in the RE remakes, he did a great job in both of those games. Matthew Mercer recently voiced Leon in Death Island, and he did, in my opinion, a Matthew Mercer level job, which means you did pretty fucking fantastic. That's just how good of a voice actor he is. Now, who do I want to voice Leon in RE9? Matthew, without a doubt. For continuity reasons, because he's taken the torch of older Leon from Damnation to Death Island, lots of projects, and also did RE6, which again, phenomenal job on everything he's done with Leon. And I also think in general he suits an older Leon more than anyone possible. Yeah, I said it and I could say something else, but I'm gonna bite my tongue on that topic. However, I think Nick is voicing him, because from what it looks like, Capcom has found their new circle of voice actors they want to be around. I don't know if the union and non-union thing is still going on with Capcom, and Nick is honestly at the forefront. It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to sound as Leon in his near 50s, since the oldest he's done Leon was Infinite Darkness, which I think was a year or two after RE4, which is borderline 20 years ago now. And another thing that is interesting for me is, if he is in this game, are they going to stick with the remake face model or go with, I would say, a mixture of the Death Island and RE6 face model? Because in my opinion, when I see the remake face model, I can only hear Nick's voice behind it. And when it comes to the other face models, I can only hear everyone else's, especially Matthew's, except for Nick, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think Nick is going to come back as Leon, and I'm looking forward to it, but deep down, I want Matthew Mercer back. He's probably my favorite voice actor of all time, aside from Paul Mercier now, to be real. Anyways, let me know what other theories you guys have in the comments down below and whatnot. What are your reactions to these theories, and which one do you like the most and the least? So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, all that good stuff, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the near future. And as always, I will catch you guys in my next video. Peace out, and much love.